Welcome back, everyone. If you're a focused learner who just absolutely loves dissecting the finer details of design and engineering, well, you're in the exact right place. Today in the 3D lab, we're jumping into a really fascinating explainer on how a high-performance machine's aesthetic, its paint, its finish, and its visual context can completely shift its whole persona. We're looking at an absolute masterclass in aggressive design language today and seeing how it just bends completely to the will of color. Okay, let's dive into this. How does a relatively simple change in color and environment completely alter a machine's DNA? I mean, we usually think of mechanical objects as, fixed, right? They are what their metal and carbon fiber dictate them to be. But, as we're going to see in just a second, the psychological impact of how a machine is presented can actually overwrite its physical reality in our minds. It's wild. To really get into this, we're looking at a core visual duel featuring the exact same aggressive mechanical canvas. And it's a stunner, the spectacular Ducati Panigale V4. But look at this, it's projecting two entirely different characters. On one side, we've got this incredibly loud, neon, high-visibility setup. And on the other, a totally stealthy, light-absorbing matte black configuration. Literally the exact same underlying architecture, but visually, they're absolute worlds apart. So let's break down exactly why our brains process them so differently. Section 1, the anatomy of aggression. Now, this first configuration is absolutely built for the high-grip, high-heat reality of a sun-baked asphalt circuit. Just look at that screaming lime green fairing. It is practically impossible to ignore. In the world of high performance, high visibility usually equals absolute confidence. That bright, almost radioactive green acts like a giant highlighter for the bike's incredibly sharp lines. And right down there at the lower flank, you've got that prominent Ducati course branding. It's stamped aggressively in contrasting black, demanding your attention and instantly declaring its elite racing pedigree. Because that green is so blindingly bright, the darker mechanical elements stand out so sharply. You've got the striking gold of the Olin suspension front forks, which, by the way, is a total hallmark of absolute precision damping and handling, just punching right through the visual space. If you follow the lines back past that sharply angled headlight brow, you'll spot the exposed lower belly. That's where the routing for the legendary Dismo de Chis Stradale V4 engine sits. And out back, the sheer visual weight of the rear wheel is just beautifully framed by Ducati's signature single-sided swing arm. The neon paint is essentially acting as the perfect picture frame for all this hardcore engineering. So the absolutely crucial point here is how color creates contrast and how contrast defines shape. See those black biplane winglets protruding from the front? Against that bright green canvas, they violently pop out, literally like blades cutting through the air. You just can't miss the aerodynamic intent here. These things are engineered to generate massive downforce, keeping this superbike glued to the tarmac at terrifying speeds. And the livery intentionally pulls your eye right to them. But what happens when we completely invert that philosophy? Let's move away from the blazing heat of the track into something much, much colder. This is the shift to stealth. Boom. The environment has completely changed. Now we're looking at stark white, biting snow surrounding a machine that seems to literally consume the light around it. This matte black winter setup brings an immediate, almost visceral feeling of frost. Instead of screaming for your attention like the green one, this configuration feels more like a predator waiting completely silently in the gloom. It's deeply intimidating, but in a totally quiet, reserved kind of way. Now, what's really interesting about this is how the shadows physically interact with the bike's shape. Remember those aggressive biplane winglets that popped so clearly on the green bike? While the matte black paint causes them to just blend seamlessly right into the shadows, the aerodynamic shapes are almost totally concealed. The darkness acts as this massive void, allowing those piercing white LED headlights to aggressively cut through the gloom. Meanwhile, the intricate details of the Desmo Sedici engine routing and the Olin suspension, completely swallowed by the dark. It creates this monochromatic, stark contrast against the snow that is just purely cinematic. Let's quickly map out this thematic juxtaposition. First, the lime green configuration. It's loud, bright, track-ready. It exists in this warm, high-grip environment where its aero details are highly visible. It's a totally extroverted machine. Then, the matte black configuration. Silent, stealthy, existing in a biting, low-grip winter snowscape where its aerodynamic details are concealed and shadow-blended. It's an introverted, menacing machine. The engineering hasn't changed a single bit, but the story being told, diametrically opposed. If we compare both front stances side by side, lock your eyes right on the headlights. It is the exact same sharp, angular brow and LED architecture, But the attitude they project is completely different. Framed by neon green that kind of look like they're squinting against the bright sun on a super fast straightaway. But framed by matte black in the snow, actually, scratch that. It's more like the glowing eyes of something really dangerous lurking in the freezing fog. It's just a stunning trick of the eye. And this brings us to a really fascinating philosophical juncture. Does the environment redefine the machine? Or does the brutal mechanical nature of the black bike make the snow look even more unforgiving? It's this beautifully reciprocal relationship, isn't it? The power of perception. This is exactly why this whole explainer matters. In high-performance design, the visual presentation is just as absolutely critical as the physical shape. I mean, designers aren't just engineering wind resistance, they're engineering human emotion. They're leveraging the psychological impact of color, contrast, light, and shadow to tell you exactly how you should feel when you look at their creation. And this brilliantly illustrates the point. These two extreme visuals showcase the sheer, unbelievable versatility of the Panigale V4's aggressive design language. It is a massive testament to the original designers that a motorcycle sculpted for absolute track dominance can just seamlessly transform into this imposing, artistic set piece in the dead of winter, simply by stripping away the color and letting the raw, shadowy geometry do all the talking. Which leaves us with a final thought for today's explainer. We've just seen how drastically perception can be manipulated by surface-level changes. So, if a single color change alters a multi-million-dollar machine's entire identity, what does the aesthetic of your own gear say about your intended environment? Are you projecting the heat of the track or the stealth of the winter? Think deeply about those design choices in your own life. Thank you so much for joining me in the lab today. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next one.